Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. John Henry Soto with you as always. It is 7 a.m. here in Nashville, Tennessee, July 27th, 2026, and we are live. So, hopefully, you all had a wonderful weekend out there. I had a great weekend, a lot of activity going on. Yes, I have a little wrist thing here going on, which I'm going to show you in a second. Look, I hurt my wrist. I was fighting off alligators, actually, trying to protect my family. I beat two alligators, and this is all the damage. No, actually, what happened, I was taking some stuff out of the trunk from Costco. It's kind of embarrassing, but yeah, I scared myself. I didn't want to make two trips, So I'm a busy man. I don't got time to making trips. But this is the result of just taking your time, folks, and breathe and don't rush things. And so that's what happened. But anyway, I hope you're all doing well out there. So we are going to have a great show today. We're going to be talking about something that I've been uh, passionate about for many, many years. And I'm going to show you the booklet. This is called The Drug Free World. We're going to cover what's inside here in a little bit. We have it in Spanish as well. La verdad sobre las drogas. And we're going to be covering that and what exactly it is. First of all, let me just tell you a little bit about what it is. And I'll give you a little bit of backstory on my situation, right? So, the Foundation for a Drug Free World is a nonprofit organization. It focuses on drug education and prevention with the mission of providing young people and adults with factual information about drugs so they can make informed decisions. Through its Truth About Drugs campaign, the organization creates educational materials, videos, public service announcements, and community programs designed to explain the risks and consequences associated with drug abuse. The goal is to empower individuals with knowledge and encourage healthier choices by giving people the facts about the effects of drugs. And so I grew up in the South Bronx. A lot of you who watch this know that about me. I talk about it often. And I grew up during a very, very volatile time where there was a lot of drug use, especially crack. That became there's a whole booklet here that talks about it as well. And that was a time where I was really shocked because I lost so many friends. Um, Not only to the fact that they went and they were heavy into drugs, not just the drug part of it, but the hey, Jared, right on. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you being here. So not so much the I didn't take drugs growing up. I was a fortunate one. I was raised. My grandparents were very very tight with me, and my mom was also involved in my life, and she did remarry, but she was very close to me and my brother and my sisters. But one of the things that was really shocking to me was how quickly your friends go from being your friends and normal friends to someone who is just biting their fingernails trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And I was always looking at what's happening to him, like what's going on with him, and or her. And I was just shocked, at how fast it went on. That was during the crack era in the mid '80s, and it was devastating. It was devastating to me. We lost a lot of our friends. It was devastating to their families, their poor families who just didn't know what went on. There was a girl that I remember. She was beautiful. I mean, she was like, it was in high school, and she was like the it girl. She was like the girl. She was Spanish, but she had this blonde hair. She had these blue eyes. She was just stunning, stunning young girl. And one day I was coming out of a grocery store, and she was coming into the grocery store, and she looked like a skeleton. And she saw me, and we knew each other, and she saw me, and she kind of just looked down and just walked by me. And my heart fell. I mean, it sank. I was so devastated by what the drugs did to her, and I felt so bad for her and for her family. It was so it stirred something in me. I knew I wasn't going to do drugs because of all the devastation that I saw, but I also knew that I wanted to be involved in some way, and I wanted to do something to help people. And so obviously on this show I do talk a lot about things that I know are helpful, and if those are interested in listening, that would be fantastic. And that's one of my passions. But I also do talk a lot about drugs. As a matter of fact, I had a guy on named Bobby Wiggins, who's done like thousands and thousands of talks to kids across the country and even the world with the Truth About Drugs campaigns. And he's done an incredible job. We had a great conversation. I'm looking at having a few others on this year or next year to talk about more about what's happening, especially with fentanyl being a huge, huge impact right now on society. It's incredible. So it's one of those things where I know it may seem like what I'm doing is, I'm just kind of talking about this booklet, but it really is important. I'm going to give a website. I'm going to flash it down at the bottom of the screen now so y'all can see it. It'll be there for the rest of the show. And if you have any information, if you want any information and more information, if you want one of these, the organization sends these out for free, and I'm going to go into that in a second. You can go there to the website, get information, watch videos, see the actual facts, get some statistics, because people think, especially people who smoke a lot of weed and stuff. And I've never smoked weed, but from what I've heard back in the days that it was a completely different weed. And we're going to cover all the stats on that, especially, weed, because I think that's one of those drugs that is sort of like a social drug, and everybody, oh yeah, everybody does it. Nothing, and not realizing the damage that they're doing to themselves. So we're going to cover that. So one of the organization's major efforts is the creation and distribution of drug-free world educational materials, including booklets that cover commonly abused substances. According to the foundation, its worldwide volunteer network has distributed more than 100 million prevention booklets, conducted awareness activities. Sorry, my printer's a little on the fritz here. Awareness activities in communities around the globe. These resources are used by educators, parents, community leaders, organizations to help start the conversations about the dangers of drug abuse and the importance of prevention. I got to get my printer fixed. Some of the words are faded. So this is these booklets. They've 100 million booklets of these have been given out, and they have incredible information. So let's go into the booklet real quickly so you can see what it is. So basically, it's about that thick. You open it up. It's got a little Velcro thing like that, and then inside, you pull out all these suckers in here. Let me see if I can do that, and you get all these booklets. Now each one covers a certain drug. The first one just covers the actual program itself, right? The truth about drugs. Then this one's the marijuana one, which we're going to go into a little bit more. There's alcohol. Yes, I know alcohol is a drug. I know people say, well, it's legal. You're right, it is legal. I mean, marijuana is legal in some places too. It doesn't make the drug good, right? Anything that changes your chemistry of your mind and makes you behave in a different way can't really be that good, right? I mean, right? I mean, am I crazy? Ecstasy, cocaine. The one I was familiar with growing up, and I saw the devastation that it did. I mean, it decimated families, and the whole community was devastated by crack. Crystal meth, the inhalers. The truth about those inhalers, like the what do you call those? The inhalers, all those things. Heroin, LSD, prescription drug abuse, which is also a major thing here. This is not a popular one because the pharmaceutical companies really control a lot of things, and they don't like when we talk about their drugs because they're a publicly traded company, right? So they have to sell their stuff in order to meet the stockholders and make them happy. Painkillers, another major thing that has killed a lot of people, a lot of celebrities that we know. Um, Ritalin, kids, and then the synthetic drugs. So it covers a lot. Now there's one that's being created right now that actually should be coming out soon. They're doing more research a little, and it's the fentanyl one. If you notice, there was no fentanyl in there, and fentanyl is really the thing that's really destroying a tremendous amount of people right now. But that one is coming out soon. What I wanted to do is I want to cover a little bit about the marijuana, and leave that there. And so, one of the things that people talk a lot about is the THC, right? So the THC back in the 60s, when people were really indulging in the love, sex, and rock and roll era, um, the drugs that they were smoking a lot was marijuana, right? And what it had was that whole THC, right? The THC content was about 1%, 2%, 3%. It was around that range. So that was how much of the actual drug you were getting. Today, today's world, it goes up to about 35%. 35%. So the drugs that you're taking today, the weed that you're smoking today, is not the same. People say, "Oh, my friends do it. It's fine. They've been doing it for years, or people have been smoking this for decades." It's not the same. It's more and more toxic. I mean, all the information is in here, so I don't want to read the whole booklet in here, but I just want to tell you that what if we've been lied to. We've been lied to. The the uh, uh, the organizations that are pushing this, that are pushing marijuana to people, saying that it's a health benefit and all these things, they're lying to you. I mean, I know that it's controversial, and I know that I get a lot of people knocking me for it. I don't really care. I mean, my life is given to this planet, and I want to do what I can to try to help. And that to me is the most important thing. I just can't live another day knowing that I'm not doing something. I have to do something. So we are being lied to right now, friends, and it is a tragic, tragic thing what's happening. um the whole fentanyl thing. Wait till I'm gonna do a whole show on fentanyl at some point. And I'm gonna have some people on that can really give you more educated, because I'm not, I'm educated in only the things that I read here. But there are people who actually are out there in the field and have stats and real yeah, I'm gonna go over some stats now actually, but they are really experienced and know exactly what's going on. So let's go a little bit further into this, right? So that was about the drug. So let me give you some statistics here, right? So drugs have been part of our culture since the middle of the last century, popularized in the 1960s by music, mass media, and they invade all aspects of society. An estimated 208 million people internationally consume illegal drugs. In the United States, results from a 2007 survey, drug use, and from the National Survey on Drug Use and Health showed that 19.9 million Americans, or 8% of the population aged 12 or older, used illegal drugs in the month prior to the survey. That was just in 2007. That's almost 20 years ago. So what do you think? Do we think it's less? You probably know someone who has been affected by drugs directly or indirectly. The most commonly used drug and abused is alcohol. Alcohol related motor accidents are the second leading cause of teen death in the United States. The most commonly used illegal drug is marijuana. According to United States, the United Nations 2008 drug World Drug Report, 3.9 of the world's population between ages of 15 and 64 abuse marijuana. Young people today are exposed earlier than ever to drugs. Based on a survey by the Center for Disease Control in 2007, 45% of high school students nationwide drank alcohol, and 19.7% smoked pot during a 1 month period. In Europe, recent studies among 15 and 16-year-olds suggest that that their use of marijuana varies from under 10% to over 40%, with the highest rate reported by teens in the Czech Republic of 44%, followed by Ireland at 39%, the UK 38%, and France 38%. In Spain and the United Kingdom, cocaine use among 15 to 16-year-olds is 4% to 6%. Cocaine use among young people has risen in Denmark, Italy, Spain, the UK, Norway, and France. I mean, the stats are there, and these are big organizations like the CDC and these kinds of organizations that actually maintain these stats. It's devastating. It's devastating. That's just mainly marijuana. There's obviously all the ones that I've named here and what they cause and the illnesses that that happened. I want to somebody here who so me. Yes, yes, as Jared says, it makes them different people, unrecognizable. I tell you, I have friends that were so unrecognizable that I have a lot of stories in that world because I didn't use drugs, but I grew up with all these people, and these were normal people. We had fun. We played ball. We ran around the park. We did skateboard and roller skating, and we rode our bikes around. And I was a ghetto celebrity as a break dancer. So we were into break dancing, and I was out and about doing a lot of things as a teenager, and it was a fantastic time. Until somewhere around 1980, between 84, 85, 86, things started changing, and then 87, and then it decimated, like literally communities, the crack. Um, and the drug dealers, their job is to get people to buy it and to get hooked on it. That is their job. It's the same kind of job that a McDonald's and, and all the big corporations have, right? With their toxic foods, right? It's the same thing. They have additives in it that make you want more. The potato chips, all the fake chips and all the stuff. It just makes you want more and more. You can't stop it. And then chronic illnesses, and then the big pharma gets involved because they have a medicine that actually helps with that, and then the FDA approves it, and then the Food Trade Commission has the food and they approve the certain foods, and it's this wonderful circle of like money, 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 and just and we're just kind of not real people to them. So this is a little bit about that. The truth about drugs. This organization here, initiative, has expanded internationally through schools, community programs, and public awareness campaigns. The organization reports that its materials have reached millions of students worldwide, including outreach efforts involving more than 30,000 schools and institutions across 200 countries. Through educational videos, personal stories, and classroom resources, the campaign works to reach young people before they begin experimenting with drugs. The Foundation for a Drug Free World emphasizes that education and prevention are key tools in reducing the impact of substance abuse. By working with volunteers, educators, and community organizations, the group provides resources designed to help people understand the consequences of drug use and make informed decisions. They approach focused focus Their approach focuses on awareness, communication, and giving individuals the knowledge they need to choose a drug-free lifestyle. I did that as a young man. I did drink alcohol, not to excess ever. I just didn't like to lose control of my senses and my body. Um, but I like a glass of wine. I haven't had wine in about 5 years, but um, it's not a thing that I have to do. But a nice glass of wine with a steak was always a pleasure. I just don't indulge. I just don't indulge. So as always, this show is about 20 minutes long. I hope that this provided value to you. I hope it gave you some information and maybe something that you can share with others. The website is right down there, drugfreeworld.org. Send people to it. Tell them, hey, just get this information, watch the videos. Here's the booklet. People can message me at johnhenrysoto@gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to talk to you more about this. I'll give you more information on it, how you can get your own booklet. You can get it in English. You can get it in Spanish. And I believe it's in a bunch of different languages. Probably, I would say more than 10 languages, where you can get the information on the truth about drugs. And that's the key thing. It's the truth about drugs, right? Because it's researched. It's been researched by all the stats that are out there and everything. Not to mention those that go out and actually educate people and talk to people that have been on drugs and get their stories. Remember, stories are what make us go around. We hear stories and we get inspired, right? And that's why storytelling is such a huge element of any business, any company. This is what I do, right? I build stories for organizations. I love to do this, right? This is a story. These have stories, devastating stories to change people that have changed not only that person's life, but their families, their children. Sometimes our parents, there are parents that have gotten into drugs late in life with kids, and their kids go by the wayside, and their kids have to figure it out. I knew kids, young kids my age, whose parents were on drugs, and these kids would have to come outside and hang out because their parents were didn't know where they were. Sometimes there was no food. I remember my mom feeding a couple of my friends who were just out and about, and they would just come to our house, and my mom would just give them a plate of rice and beans and some chicken. I mean, it's like, where are your parents? You go, I don't know. The tragedy, the stories, it's so heartbreaking. And this wasn't back in the 80s when I was, but this is now. This is happening today. That was my experience. I guarantee you it's happening right here in our neighborhood, right here in Nashville. Anywhere, any city, it's happening. And it's tragedy, but there is something that can be done about it. That's the important thing. Something can be done about it. If you go into it with that viewpoint and that understanding, you have a chance. You have a chance. So go visit the website, drugfreeworld.org, get your booklets, hand them out to people. You can get also a whole, it's like a study kit. It's a bigger actually package and it's free. And you get it if you want to do, if you're a teacher, for instance, if you're any kind of an educator, if you're a counselor, at an organization or in this for the city or something, reach out to me. I'll help you get all the materials that you need. If you need 1,000, we'll get you 1,000 of these. I mean, it's that simple. All you need to do is ask, and you'll get it. All right, friends. My passion is goes deep, and I can go on talking about this for a long time because I really care about people. And also, as an artist, I know that drugs destroy art. It's not people say, oh, Jimi Hendrix and all these legendary people, they did drugs, and look at Jimi Hendrix, he's a legend. Jimi Hendrix is dead. He would be alive today. He was 27 years old. He didn't do a fraction of what he could have done. As great as he was, look what happened. We lost him to drugs, right? And it goes on and on. Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain, it just goes on and on of the artists that we've lost all at 27, right? Amy Winehouse, another 27. Brian Jones, 27. Um, Jim Morrison, 27. The list goes on of musicians that have just killed themselves, right? And something can be done about it, friends. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in. As always, I appreciate any time that you spend here is appreciated. I really appreciate it. I really love you all for that. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day out there. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We're all we got on this little blue marble floating through space. God bless you all. I'll see you tomorrow morning. And as always, peace.